Hey everybody, welcome to the Ethics Verse. This is a remote Ethics Verse for me. I am in beautiful, sunny Rochester, New York. Sorry for the delay. I had some computer issues. First time ever, so let's blame it 100% on me because Chase is not here to hold my hand through it. Welcome to the Ethics Verse. Happy Ethics Day to all you Ethic cuties out there, and the 40% of you who have still not subscribed to the Ethics Verse. So subscribe today. We have such a great one for you today. So we have Nadine Cherry, an old friend, and she's somebody who you guys are going to absolutely love. So I still have not had breakfast. I still have not had lunch. So let's try to break our interaction record into the chat. Drop where you're coming from, where you are calling in from, drop your LinkedIn URL. You know, we always say your network is your net worth. Neither are big enough. So drop that in and connect with somebody. You know, we're at this conference at URMC in Rochester. And, you know, I'm just reminded again, you know, whenever I get among a bunch of ethics and compliance people who are trying to make a difference in their organization, I always leave like so inspired. So I'm pretty fired up today. Hit our link tree. And you can follow us everywhere. We put replays of our podcast and our these webinars on YouTube. You can follow us on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn. And let's talk a little bit about today's prizes. So today's prizes are 5 copies of Mary Shirley's book. So I know we are talking about this book a lot. This is really, there's so much great stuff in this book. So if you haven't picked it up and you don't feel like dropping good questions and interactions in the chat, then go ahead and hit that QR code. But like I said, we're giving away 5 of those. And we're also continuing to give away to current clients and to EthicsVerse members custom benchmark reports. We just had someone that we did one of these for present that to their board, and they found it pretty insightful just to see where they mapped against different folks. So go ahead and drop a 0 in the chat, and someone from our team will reach out to you if you'd like to give it a try. Of course, this is at no obligation because, you know, I love all you Ethic cuties out there. Compliance Week right around the corner. So hope you have downloaded our Compliance Week toolkit. A lot of great stuff. Round of applause for the Compliance Line marketing, or the Compliance Line, that slipped out. I can't believe it. The Ethico marketing team. Compliance Week is a great opportunity for us to raise awareness and gain more of that participation, which is a lot of what we were talking about today. Please start tagging us or sending us your misconduct mystery game videos. We'd love to see how everyone is using this this fun tool for Compliance Week to drive awareness around bribes and the complexities of investigation. Here is our Ethico ecosystem. This is our integrated tool. This is brought to you by Ethico, of course. So we did a great demo last week. We clicked off for a second, and this guy brought his entire family around to show them. His kids thought he was pretty weird to do that because they don't really care about ethics software. But you know, it's weird. We just have we keep having these crazy stories week after week. So if you haven't seen the ecosystem, you don't know what's out there, and you're interested, please hit a demo for us. With that, Ethics and Compliance for Humans, this is quickly turning into required reading in our organization. It really helps to understand some smart ways to improve our program. So pick that book up as well. And I've started to see some videos of people, you know, with their kids in this book and reading to their kids in this book. It's a great book by Tom Fox. It's turned into his #1 bestseller. So Speaking Up is awesome. Go ahead and pick that up as well. Next week, we have Proactive Risk Management, moving past anxiety to take action. This is going to be a really fun one as well. We're the person coming on, you're not going to want to miss this one. Of course, there's free CEUs like there is every week, but they have a really interesting perspective on how we can reframe what risk is in our organization, how we can reframe what waste is and start to change those mindsets in the organization so we can make that bigger impact. And then following that, we are doing more trending topics of the hottest trending now topics in ethics, compliance, and human resource. So round of applause for Nadine. Nadine, thank you for listening to all of that housekeeping. You are looking very like, you look amazing in your picture. You look like a cosmic goddess. So Nadine is a corporate meditation leader and mindfulness speaker. I've known Nadine since college back in the day, and so we will I'm sure talk about that. But she started at CDW as her first job, and from that stemmed this amazing business that she has, this amazing work that she does, coming into organizations and helping them with mindfulness. The way I think about mindfulness in the context of knowledge work, which is the economy that we're in now, it's the equivalent to maintenance on machinery. Machines would, be able to take a moment, so to speak, to get repaired and so forth. So her business is phenomenal, and anything you can see her do is worth your time for sure. And I'm so honored to have you on, Nadine. How's it going?
It's so great. Thank you. Thanks, Nick, for having me. And what's up, everyone? Really great to be with you today. Nick definitely didn't mention that I was the one, he was holding my hand through business school, coaching and guiding me to all the correct answers at the Kelly School. So still rocking, Nick. Thanks for having me. Really happy to be here and ready to spend some time with you all. So permission to pause. Should we pause right now? Should we check in with ourselves? Just hearing from the group. Let's take a pause. If you were to say from a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being, hey, I'm feeling super chill, super relaxed, super calm, and 10 being, I feel stressed, I feel anxious, I feel overwhelmed, and out of balance, what would you say your number is? 1 being super calm, chill, relaxed, 10 being super stressed, anxious. Let's see in the chat, what would your number be? Share with everybody. And this is a safe, honest space. You can keep it real here. Yeah, I mean, some of us are like 10, 8, 9. Let's see what everybody else has to say. Nick is at a 7, Meow is at an 8. What other numbers? Okay, 9, 5. We're all across the board, but generally pretty high. Great to take that kind of self-awareness inventory with yourself. There's no right or wrong answer. We know it's going to change from moment to moment. And just good information to have about ourselves in this moment. So this is permission to pause. And some of you might be thinking, permission to pause? Oh my gosh, sign me up. Is somebody giving me a pause? I'm in. Yes. And some people are like, permission to pause? Is that a thing? Like, can we actually take a pause? And some people are probably like, permission to pause. Have you seen my inbox? I don't have time to pause. Like, the only time I pause is to go to the bathroom. Well, I got to tell you, that was me. I'll share a little bit about my story. As Nick alluded to, that was me. I came from 18 years in enterprise technology sales. And Nick knows the first 4 years of coming right out of college into enterprise technology corporate world, I spent myself hustling and grinding and working myself to the bone. I was trying to fit in with everyone, speak the tech lingo, sell as much as possible, and really excel as much as I could, get my name at the top of that sales list. And that meant disregarding everything and everyone else around me because I was so hyper-focused on business. I was stressed. I was exhausted. It was kind of working, not really. And I was a little bit of a jerk. I was so concerned about business and getting ahead that I really disregarded a lot of other people's feelings and how I came across. And so this went on for about 4 years. And then I was slapped in the face with some really devastating news, some difficult news. I'm sure you can appreciate and relate when you get this important text or phone call about a family member who has a serious illness or something challenging. And for me, that was with my mom. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. And, in that moment, everything stops. Nothing else matters. Work doesn't matter. You don't care about getting your projects complete in that moment. All you care about is taking care of your family member. And for me, that's what happened. Work stopped. All the preoccupation with success was put on hold. And I flew to St. Louis, where we're from, to go through the tests, get the radiation, do the surgeries, meet with all the doctors. And I am so, so, so grateful to say she actually just had a mammogram yesterday and all is clear. So we're grateful she got through the the treatment. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you don't hear stories like, you hear stories the opposite, and I've experienced many other stories since then, but that was the experience then. And it was in that moment, my friends, where I was like, something has to change. I am not going to keep stressing, being in the future. I want to live every moment to its fullest. I want to touch the richness of life. I want to be here for the highs. I want to feel the lows. I want to laugh. I want to cry. I want to feel it all. And I didn't know what that meant or how to get there. And I was moseying on in this weird unknown space, kind of down, kind of depressed for, I don't know, a couple months. And then I had a client and a friend at the same time say out of the blue, have you ever tried meditation? And I was like, excuse me, what? No. Isn't that the like crunchy, hippie, weird, woo-woo? I don't have time for that. But if you have a medication, maybe I'd be in for that. Did you say medication?
Yes, I love medication. Yeah.
I mean, that's really fast. I don't have time for meditation. But I was so desperate that I really had to give anything a shot. I didn't have kids at the time, so this was in 2008. And so I started reading this book. It's called Transcendence, and it's about a particular type of meditation. But it was talking about this concept of impermanence, where you are not ruminating about the past and you're not preoccupied with what's coming in the future because it's really uncertain. We really don't know what it's going to be. And really taking up residency right here, right now, in the present moment. This is where the action happens. This is where you feel. This is where you create. And I was like, yes, I'm into that. How do I get there? And they said, start meditating. So I did. I was that weird woman riding the bus from Lincoln Park to the Chicago downtown loop with my eyes closed like this, listening to meditation YouTube videos because there were no apps back then. And some crazy things started happening. First of all, I started noticing more. I started noticing things I never paid attention to before, like, oh, wow, the sky is actually beautiful. There's some really gorgeous trees here. Were they always there? And this person's smiling at me as we're walking across the street. I can't believe, before I would have been just like so hyper-focused on work, I would have totally missed that moment. My conversations became richer, more deep. I was starting to really pay attention to what my clients were saying, what my family was saying, out of my own really interest and curiosity as opposed to my self-interest.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing of all happened. This was the wild part. And never would have expected this. But my sales doubled in 2008 from $10 million to $20 million. Bananas. And my leaders were like, so it's a recession and your sales just doubled. What are you doing? How is this happening? And I was like, yeah, so I'm doing this thing where I'm still and I'm quiet and I'm meditating and I'm reflecting. And they're kind of like, that's a little weird, but whatever, keep going. Just keep doing whatever you're doing. So I did keep going, and my sales kept growing and improving. I ended up winning the President's Achievement Award for Growth 4 times at my company out of thousands of salespeople. And I went on to research how this is possible because I knew it was meditation. I couldn't figure out how mindfulness and meditation, this practice of being still and in the present moment, was doubling my performance at work. Turns out there's this part of the brain called the corpus callosum. It connects the left side of the brain, which is where we spend the most of our time, our intellect, our strategy, our problem solving, our critical thinking, and the right side of the brain, which we don't use as much, which is the intuitive, creative, imaginative side of the brain, where big ideas happen. So when we meditate, this superhighway that connects both sides of the brain becomes thicker, bigger, stronger. So when my clients were calling me and saying, hey, Nadine, I'm the world's largest oil producing company, and we've been attacked by a serious security threat. We're going to need 25,000 hard drives today, instead of freaking out in logical left brain mode, thinking, sorry, do not compute, cannot happen. I was able to come up with ideas quickly, solve the problem, and save the world's largest oil producing company. This is actually a true story. So, my friends, the thing is, the reason truly for being able to transform this insane amount of pressure that I found into peace is really giving ourselves permission to pause. If you think about it, we treat ourselves, as Nick mentioned before, kind of like robots, right? Like we can just crank out productivity and widgets and whatever we're doing, but we're not. And we are giving our computers, the machines we work on, nonstop. Even they get time to update, right? We give them a pause. We don't mess with them, and they come back. What happens when we give our machines time to update? What happens to them? They come back faster. They have new and improved updates, and they perform better. And we need to give ourselves that exact same type of reset and pause so we can do the exact same thing. So this is a little bit more about me and what I'm doing. I'm now sharing this practice with other people. So what happened was, I knew I had something going here that I wanted that is worth sharing with other sellers and salespeople and coworkers across the entire 6,000 person organization. And so what I did was I rounded up a few people in a conference room, people I'd mentored after I'd gone to conferences and read books and got trainings. And I said, hey, can I share with you a pause? Can I lead you through a short guided meditation so that you can experience this same inner peace and outer performance that I'm experiencing? And they said yes. Over time, that group has grown. It's over 750 people today, with people from all over the world, showing up. And it's a beautiful space. You have people in operations connecting with people in finance, and it's always a short teaching, and I guide them through a meditation, and they report back leaving feeling calmer, clearer, more connected to each other, to themselves, to the company. So it's pretty cool. And really what it does is it allows us to become calm when we practice this meditation, which is so important. The first step is becoming calm, because we all know we can't think clearly and come up with big ideas and solve big problems when we're in a heightened emotional state. So calm is the first, number one step of my process that I teach. Number two is compassion. Compassion meaning our ability to sit and be with difficult moments. Things are going to be difficult. Challenges are going to be there always. But are we able to treat ourselves with the same kind of patience and empathy and kindness as we would a friend? Because if we are calm, but we're beating ourselves up about what we said on that conference call last week, or our big mistake that we made that probably no one noticed, then we're not going to be able to show up in future projects and meetings and presentations as our best. So compassion towards ourselves and others is super important. And then the final C of calm and compassion is clarity. When we are calm and compassionate, we become more clear about the obvious answer, clear about what needs our attention in this moment, clear about who we are, how we want to share our unique gifts, which we all have, with the world. So we're ending up activating this authentic part within ourselves. And when we activate our own authenticity, we start attracting more. People want to be around people who are truly themselves, who are authentic, who are sharing their unique gifts, right? Like Nick shows up like that, and we want to hang out with Nick. We show up to this webcast because we want to be around his energy. And when we do that, we start attracting more abundance. So that is the process: calm, compassion, and clarity to activate authenticity. Yeah, I'm seeing the emojis fly. I'm feeling it. Thank you for the emojis and the love. I'm into it. So what is permission to pause? I'll just break it down quickly. Permission to pause is what your employees are craving so much. It is the opportunity to say, hey, you can take a beat. Take a beat is just a cool way to take a break, a pause, by tuning in to,
I'm going to start saying that. Yeah, that is cool.
Take a beat, say take a beat. Yeah, by tuning into what's going on within you and around you to protect your own peace. Because the deal is, the world is going to keep taking from us and piling information onto us, and it's our own responsibility to protect our own peace. If you think about it, look at your day, right? You wake up. Nick, what time do you wake up?
6.
6, right? And then you go, right? You have your routines, your rituals, and you continue. You get breakfast, drink coffee, you go to work, you're on your calls back to back to back. It's really up to us to protect our peace, to take responsibility, and I would say have the meeting that is the most important meeting you will have all day, my friends, and is the one with yourself. And we do this by first bringing awareness to the fact, like, oh, I'm in the past, I'm in the future, I'm feeling stressed. Then allowing it, having that compassion, not judging ourselves for having that, and then redirecting our attention to the present moment, to what we're doing, what we're creating. And when we do this over and over, it becomes like a muscle, and we become more focused, more clear, and in touch with what we're here to do at work. So I'm flipping through here. Okay. Yeah, just quickly, I'll share with you all why really taking a pause is crucial for this peace and performance. We'll go through 3 quick ways to pause, and then a little bit on boundaries for setting an effective pause. So, first of all, what happens when we don't pause? We talked about it a little. We just keep going and end up burning out. I'm sure you have employees, colleagues, I'm sure you feel it yourself, how if we don't stop, we just keep going and going and going. And we end up pouring out more than we have to give. We also have tight grips to specific outcomes. If something happens that's outside of our expectations, it can throw us off for the entire day. We miss out on the rest of the day because we're not present. And we also miss out on moments, beautiful moments. Our child smiling at us, we're missing because we're not present. An important piece of information our boss is trying to communicate to us that we would have missed out on because we're not in the present moment. But when we do pause, we do become more aware of what we need. When we take a few seconds, even a micro pause as I call it, we notice, you know what? I haven't eaten in the past like 3 hours because I've been working. I should probably do that if I want energy for the rest of the day. Or, I noticed when I pause, there's an important conversation that I need to have that's been taking up my mental real estate and not allowing me to show up as my best at work. Those are the insights that we gain when we take a pause, as well as becoming more flexible and allowing change and experiencing awe in everyday life. So let's talk about performance, right? How does meditation and taking a pause translate to outer performance? It's actually really simple. When we are calm, we see things more clearly. We're not taking surface level buzz and letting it get in the way of our decision-making process because we're present, we're clear. And when that happens, we're more focused. We're in the zone. You know what I mean by in the zone. And when that happens, we're creating more quality work without distractions. It's as simple as that. And when we create more quality work in the zone, our performance naturally goes up. This is exactly what happens for me. And I read a stat, check this out. I read a stat that we are consuming on an everyday basis 174 newspapers worth of information every single day. So our ability to take our most precious asset, which I would say is our attention, and really use that in a way, right, to serve us instead of have it taken from us is the most important thing at work right now.
Well, nobody signed up for 174 newspapers a day. Like that happened around us, and now we're in this world. Like we're not built for it. So like if we're not doing anything to counterbalance that, then that is going to dictate our entire existence and how we show up and what we see and what we don't see, to your point. But, this is a crucial skill, not just for ourselves, I think, but I think also for the influence that we're having around other people. Like you can't build a team. Like if you're always stressed out, your team is always going to be stressed out. If your team ever is coming to you and you're not present, you're not there with them, well, then they're going to feel alone. But if we can start to build a little local culture around, the people that really make up about 80% of our, work experience, those people that we come into contact every day, and start to change that local culture and that local pod by counterbalancing or fighting against this like bombardment that, like I said, we're not built for, we can very quickly start to change the entire tenor of our work, to your point. And this better performance is not just going to be with myself, it's going to be with all of those other people. I mean, look at how, you threw that, rock in the pond and it rippled out to 750 people showing up for these, for these special moments consistently every week. It's an infectious way. It's an infectious way. And, it's because it's such like a true antidote to what all of us are dealing with. Like, I didn't see a lot of threes. Like, round of applause for all of you guys in the chat that, gave yourself a 3. I saw a couple of those. But if you average that, that would be at 8 or, 7 or 8. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And to your point, people can feel when you're distracted or when you're present. As an employee with a manager, you crave that dedicated, focused attention. That makes them feel connected. That makes them feel seen. That makes them feel supported. And that keeps them at the company, right? So I did a survey of 50 of these regular participants of the 700 plus employees that show up weekly with me. And we know mental health is such an important topic right now. The number of claims that you must all see coming through for mental health. I read a stat, 1 in 5 Americans, US people in the US have mental health issues and challenges. And people say that 60%, another survey said 60% said that work is the reason of their mental health challenges. This is out of a survey of like 3,000 employees in 10 different countries. So really using this as an opportunity to address mental health and the services I'm offering in these meditations, this weekly 30-minute meetup, 100% said, hey, this is positively impacting my mental health. 81% saying, I noticed an improvement in my performance at work after a single session. 77 said, hey, I feel more focused and clear. And then 96% said, yeah, this is a benefit that my company is offering that's keeping me here. That makes me feel seen. So just a little bit of feedback on the data I've received from
so maybe we're going to get to this, Nadine, but we got a really good question. This is a great point and a great talk. What are some of the guardrails that we can put into place to protect us from this information overload that we're all just subject to?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Boundaries, and I have a slide on that. So let me jump ahead and we're going to talk about some boundaries. Such a great question, because one thing I hear all the time is like, I feel always on. Who else feels like that? Teams, chat, Jabber, whatever you're using. I'm always accessible. So setting boundaries is such an important thing, and normalizing those boundaries. The number one thing I'll say about that is it comes from the leader. If the leader is going to set a boundary, the manager, the director, the VP, and say, it's totally fine that you are not going to respond to me after 8 p.m., then the leader shouldn't start emailing that person or hitting them up on Teams after 8 p.m. So you have to be example. That's one really key point.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, and to that point, every single email tool out there, like if you're just somebody who needs to sort of close that loop and get it off your plate, you can always do a delayed send on anything, even on your phone. But that's like just a little hack to establish that boundary and make sure your deed is following your word and your actions are corresponding to the type of localized culture that you want to build.
Love that. Love that. So I introduced 3 different ways to pause: a micro pause, a minute pause, and a mindful pause. Because let's face it, we don't all have 20 minutes to sit under a Bodhi tree and meditate every single day. Some people don't like meditation, and that's totally cool. We need actionable ways to incorporate these pauses into and throughout our day. So let's talk about a micro pause. What does that look like? Does anyone open your email, like sit down to open your email, and you feel like, I don't know what's going to happen, but whatever happens in that inbox is going to absolutely run how my day goes? Like
Totally.
You are a victim of your own email? Yeah. So, and a way to set an intention for the day and to maintain control is to take a breath or two, a 4-6 breath, which is breathing in for a count of 4 and exhaling for 6. Do that 3 times before you open your email, and you'll feel in control and ready for anything. You can also do that anytime you see waiting for host to begin meeting. Use that as a signal, not to cram in how much more can I get done until they start the meeting, but as an opportunity to check in with yourself, as we did at the beginning of the session, on a scale of 0 to 10 or 1 to 10. How am I doing in this moment? Okay, maybe I'm in a 9 and I could use a few deep breaths. So this is a way that you can incorporate a micro pause into your day. Micro, we're talking seconds, to start to tune in.
You said something interesting there, Nadine, that, give yourself a second to check in with yourself. And, machines, they all have sensors on them, and those sometimes will go into the red, and that's a signal to the operator of the machine that they need to do something. We end up staying so busy as the operators of our own machine that we don't even look at those gauges. And if you can just remind yourself to look at those gauges, how are you actually feeling, and run a little slower, take that micro pause. I mean, it just is so crazy what a little reframe can do. Just pausing and clearing out some of the clutter in your mind, and the extent to which you're living in the future where all that anxiety resides.
Exactly.
It's such an easy hack, and it's such a simple hack. And I think, to your point, if you can build in some easy triggers, if it's a timer or it's looking, when you see that waiting for host to start, you can start to put this into practice immediately. And to your point, you see a benefit immediately. It's crazy.
Exactly. You down-regulate your nervous system. You invoke that, you calm that fight or flight response, because when we're in that state, our cortisol levels are heightened. Our amygdala is like, oh my gosh, I'm in fear mode. Not a good time to make important decisions or have an important conversation. It could be damaging, really.
Right.
So, like you said, hooking on these pauses to something you're already doing, like sitting down to open your email each day, or seeing that waiting for host to begin meeting as a signal to incorporate these pauses into your day. Now, sometimes a micro pause just isn't going to cut it, and you need something a little longer to, activate that calm response. And that could happen when you're finding yourself in that awareness heightened, right? You're getting frustrated with your computer. You find yourself, oh my gosh, this is the 3rd mistake I've made all day. It's time to take a longer pause. And that could be a few minutes. In fact, on Tuesday, I led a session for a bunch of coworkers, and I'll share with you what the practice was that I taught. That is a minute pause, in addition to eating a snack mindfully, which is putting away your device, not looking at your phone and shoveling it in, just paying attention.
You can do that?
You can do that. You can taste your food. You can enjoy it instead of looking down where the heck did that food go? It's gone. Did I eat that? Yes. So there's this other really wonderful practice that I taught that was actually introduced to help trauma response for hurricane victims, but it's called the butterfly hug. And when I taught this to employees, they absolutely went crazy about it. And you can try it with me. So what you do is you place your hands, cross your arms like this, and you can either rest your hands closer to your elbows or up here by your shoulders. And you just very gently and slowly begin tapping. And you allow yourself to calm down and activate the breath. I do this when I feel like I'm either feeling lonely, I feel like I'm frustrated, I notice that I'm not calm, and you gently tap like this. You can do it with your eyes open or closed, and it's like you're giving yourself a hug. And it down regulates your nervous system from that fight or flight response. You're activating your parasympathetic nervous system, and you feel yourself calm down, and you just let your hands rest here for a few seconds. I already feel more relaxed after doing that. I don't know if anybody else tried that, but
I bet really all the future ethics verses are going to be me like this.
Yeah, right. So we'll just have our meetings like that.
Yeah. No, but it is true. I mean, you feel it immediately. It's like, yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild, right? So that's a minute pause. And we are talking about not taking time away from work, just incorporating these. Yes, EFT. Thank you for tapping is another really great tool. Laura mentioned here, tapping. It's another tool that I haven't taught yet, but I'm thinking about it, where you tap on different meridians in the body and you repeat affirmations, kind of like, I am feeling scared and it's okay. I am feeling overwhelmed and it's okay. I'm peaceful and it's okay. That's another really great technique. Thanks for bringing that up. You encouraged me. That was my push to learn more about that. So that's the minute pause. And then the mindful pause, my friends, is really the foundational practice of meditation, where you desire a consistent practice to set the tone for your entire day. I meditate every single day. I have to. My job depends on it. My friends depend. My relationships depend on it. I'm a better mother because of it. It has truly helped me create a sense of calm as my default. And if you've meditated in the past and you're like, I don't dig it, it wasn't for me, I had too many thoughts, those are all normal sentiments. Meditation does find you when you're ready to receive it. Maybe it wasn't your time. Maybe this is your signal that it's time to try again. But what it will offer you is that space consistently to reflect on what is going on within me, what needs my attention. You know, is it an important conversation? Is my body in pain? Is there something I need to have addressed with the doctor? Or it also lends to really great ideas and inspired thinking. So meditation is a really great opportunity for you to tune in with yourself. And there's a million different types of meditation. So if you tried one that you didn't like, maybe you had an instructor you didn't like, maybe it was a type you didn't like, I invite you to try again. I always meditate and find that intuitive guidance, that gut decisions telling me, that inner compass leading me to a good direction of where I should be listening and paying attention to, other than what my head is telling me to do. And it also helps me stay connected to my most authentic self, so that I'm not pretending to be like anyone else. I'm showing up with the highest version of me so I can share that out with the world, which is really what we all want from each other. So
Can I add something on that point?
Yes.
I think for most of my life, I've kind of thought that I was my mind, and it was like my mind against my body. My body doesn't want to do things, and I have to, me as my mind has to get my body to do these things. And I think what I've realized is it's really like me against my mind, and the mind is sort of like the mouthpiece for the body. And so like, if we can get better at using our mind, which is this tool, this problem solving tool, and we can get better at like harnessing it and like clearing away those sort of errant future thoughts that are rooted in, clogging our thinking up with, anxiety, then that's how that room for like more creativity can come forward. And I was reading this biography about the guy Bugatti who, built those Bugatti cars. And he was this, he drove crazy innovations in engines, and his cars were winning all these races in the early 1900s. And he would carve out specific time to not do anything, not just go do recreation, play tennis, and go ride horses, but to just walk and to just not be bombarded with all of this other noise. And it's interesting. There's this director, Christopher Nolan, who we all know. He tries to live in this like analog world where he doesn't have an email and he's not bombarded with phone calls and stuff like that, so that he can carve out that time for the creative work to solve all the problems that go into building a story and a screenplay, or like actually filming a movie. So it's interesting. You see these people that are extremely successful in these disparate fields, employ the same sort of tactics in order to allow that like connection, that highway you talked about between our left and right brain, allow for that increased creativity to solve these problems a lot better. But if you're not doing that, life is going to fill in. You know, the notifications are going to fill in the gaps. We have to put those bulwarks up to protect ourselves.
Absolutely. And let me be clear, this mindful pause doesn't necessarily have to be meditation. For so many people, and let me know in the chat, is it a walk for you? Because a lot of people say walking is their mindful pause. Right. That's where they get the same number of ideas as they would get in the shower, right? When I had a really important, so funny you said that, Nick, when I had a really important presentation to give in front of all these real estate professionals, and I was really beating myself up and freaking out about what content I wanted to present. Yeah. I called my business coach. I'm like, I need to figure this out. I need content. I need structure. I need slides. She's like, Nadine, go take a walk. I was like, are you insane? And she's like, go take a walk. I'm like, that's the last thing I need to do. But I listened to her. I went out. I took a walk. I freaked out for a few moments, and then the insight started coming to me. I came home.
Your body's moving. Exactly. Scenes changing. Yeah. Right.
Exactly. And I want to address something important that Sandra brought up. Meditation can sometimes be emotional. Yes, it can. When we're not used to sitting and being still naturally, things will come up that we have been distracting ourselves through or pushing away. This happened for me so many times. This is so funny. Anytime I would get a massage or I would be in Shavasana in yoga, when you lie at the very end and do nothing, I would start bawling my eyes out. Why is that? It's because I never gave myself the space just to be with whatever is going on inside of me. And of course, a flood of emotions will perhaps come out. It doesn't happen all the time. Now that I meditate, that doesn't happen rarely ever. But the idea of meditation is to be with what is, to create space for whatever is present, to roll out the welcome mat, as John Kabat-Zinn says, for anything, without having to become it. You just notice it like an observer, okay? You're just like recording data. Fear. Sadness. Anxiety.
Well, and it goes back to that impermanence, because none of those things are permanent. And none of the circumstances you're in are permanent. You know what I mean?
Beautiful. And recognizing the temporary nature of that emotion. Just because you feel it doesn't mean it's real. So you could be like the sky and letting the clouds passing by and all the wind and rain be like this temporary phenomena passing by. We don't become attached to the cloud. We don't become attached to the rain. We can hang back and be the open sky and let it move through us.
Right.
When we can do that over and over, it translates into work. When we are sitting here and we receive a snappy email, we don't react to it right away. It creates a gap between the stimulus and response where we aren't a victim to what's happening to us. We can just hang back, give it some space, and then make a decision. It changes
you're not
everything.
Just like reacting all the time, reacting from instinct. You can react through judgment into that top tier of perspective, you know? Or you can react you can respond with perspective instead of reacting from instinct or something.
Beautiful. Exactly. Allison said, meditation does not involve thinking about anything but being aware of your thoughts. It's literally awareness. Mindfulness is a weird word because it's like mindful. I try not to use it all too much because it's confusing, but really it just means
like mindlessness. We don't want to do that. So
I know, that would be weird.
Mindfulness is fine. I think that should be the word.
Someone come up with a new word. Yes. Okay. So anyway, let's, do you want to do it? Do you want to try it? Do you want me to guide you through a meditation?
I've already adopted this. This is my thing now, this butterfly hug.
This is your thing. You're going to show
more.
Just the butter. That's called the butterfly hug, by the way. The butterfly hug. Okay, my friends, I'm going to guide you through a really simple guided meditation, okay? There's nothing woo-woo, weird, religious. anything about it. It doesn't have anything to do with beliefs. It has to do about believing in yourself and noticing what is present, like we just talked about, like an observer. It doesn't matter if you have meditated and before didn't like it, if you have a regular practice, if you have no idea what's about to happen. Try and just be open and curious instead of judgmental. We probably aren't going to like meet the Buddha. There's not going to be any like major like light bulb moments. Nothing crazy is going to happen. We're just using this as an opportunity to notice what's going on within us, to use that information to better guide our actions. So the most important thing is making yourself super comfortable. So most likely you're sitting in your chair, turning off your distractions. So turn off your notifications. Meditation doesn't work.
Do not log out though. Don't log out.
Don't log out. Just keep us with you. Just like don't scroll on TikTok and try and meditate. You know, it doesn't really work. Like, yeah. So making sure your feet are flat on the ground, and I make sure my back is supported. So I have a pillow behind me. You don't need that, but just making sure your back is supported. And you can uncross your legs. Do not get weirded out about the hands. There's no weirdness. You don't need to just lay them down wherever you're comfortable. I just have mine just laying right down. And you can adjust your clothes, adjust your clothes. I really don't suggest meditating with a wedgie. So like adjust it so you're really comfortable. And check in with your back, just making sure you're feeling upright. And even with the eyes open right here, just taking a moment to zoom in towards the physical body and yourself. You can even do this with the eyes open, just noticing, taking a moment to pause and just looking around and noticing what is in your room as if you're looking at it for the first time. Just kind of observing the room. We come in and come out of every day, but we really don't stop and pay attention. And if you feel like closing the eyes, let's do it. You can allow the eyes to gently close. If not, totally fine. You can just soften your gaze at an object downward, maybe your keyboard or something. And taking a few deep breaths on your own, just taking a deep breath in through the nose, allowing the belly to fill up. No holding, just let it out as you're comfortable. I exhale out through my nose as well to get more oxygen into the body. So again, take a deep breath in through the nose. See if you can let your belly fill up first and then the chest. And then just let it go with the intention of releasing whatever has happened already today. And then when thoughts come up, totally normal, just bring your attention back to your body sitting here in the chair. And you can notice the feet and their connection to the ground, zooming in with your attention on just feeling the connection to the feet and the ground, feeling supported here. You can bring your attention now to the body sitting in the chair and just being held by the chair, just noticing the weight of gravity, allowing the chair to hold you. And don't worry if thoughts come up about the past or the future, just kind of like a lost puppy guiding yourself back to feeling the body in the chair. And bringing your awareness to the hands and just noticing sensations in the fingertips, what you can feel with the hands and the fingers. And shifting your awareness now to the chest and the heart space, just allowing your breath to even out, slow inhales and exhales. Just allowing yourself to observe anything you notice in the chest and the heart with zero judgment. We're just becoming aware. And moving up to the face, noticing any areas that might be clenched in the jaw, letting it relax, letting the eyes be heavy and soft, letting the face just hang out and be relaxed. And just tuning into the physical body here, inviting a sense of calmness, giving yourself permission to be still, something we don't do too often, and letting that be okay. Letting yourself rest in this alert awareness, but still be relaxed. Seeing if you can just focus on nothing but the gentle rise and fall of the inhale and the exhale, without having to alter, change, or do anything differently, just noticing. Some breaths longer than others, totally fine. You're doing it just right. Nothing to achieve, no outcomes we're desiring here. We're just sitting quietly in stillness, observing what comes and goes. Allowing thoughts to come and go, and then coming back to the breath and just noticing what's here. Taking a few final moments of quiet stillness to notice what is coming and going within you. Perhaps something calling for your attention that needs addressing, not now, but later. And taking a final moment of appreciation here for yourself, for showing up and paying attention to the inner workings of your mind, your heart, your body. It's easy to get distracted, so credit to you for taking a pause. And when you're ready, you can begin to just gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. You can sway from side to side, bring some movement back into the body. And when it feels right, you can open your eyes. And with the eyes open, let's check in again. Now with the 1 being super zen, chill, peaceful, relaxed, and the 10 being totally overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, and all of that. What number are you at now, and did it shift?
I feel like I just had a scotch and a couple Quaaludes, so I'm at a 3.
Oh my gosh, best comment I've ever had, honestly, Nick. Leave it to you. I love it. I'm going to put that on LinkedIn. Was that kosher? No. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, 3, 2, just,
I mean, it's so much lower. I mean, this is so
lower.
cool.
It's crazy. That was a few minutes, my friends. That was a few minutes. So yeah, I mean, that's possible.
It might be weird to do it, but like, imagine if you just did a 1 minute one of those, like before meetings.
Yeah.
And just got everybody present in the meeting. I mean, it sounds crazy, but like, it's not really that crazy given like what we're all going through. Like everybody is bombarded with all of this stress. You know what I'm like? It was all 7s and 8s before.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
I love you all. Love you all in the chat. Love you all. Yeah. And it's not weird. Companies hire me literally just to kick off conferences for this all the time, to do this, to center everyone and do it with, in between the conference. But now you can see why I'm hired to do this weekly for companies, but also companies like Google. I mean, they start each meeting with a pause. This is my jam. Like, let's normalize doing this, right? So we're all more clear, focused, and aware. So very cool. So I I know we only have a few more minutes. Someone asked before about setting boundaries at work for a pause, because this is really important, right? We need to be able to claim our pause, because if we block it on our calendar, we can't let people just trample over it and steal our pause from us. We need to carve this time. And as someone in my session says, I protect this time slot with my life, because that's how crucial it is to their inner peace and performance, right? So just letting your manager know, right? Communicating that availability. This is when I'm available. If you want to know why, if it starts to impact my performance, we can talk. But for right now, this is what I need. And becoming more comfortable with voicing that to your leadership. Again, scheduling your pause and then not letting anyone, trample all over it in your calendar, block it out. And then these notifications on our phone can drive us, kind of nuts. Turning those off really will help us focus. Do not disturb time, setting end of day offline, postponing the emails like you had suggested. Such a great suggestion.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, businesses have existed for thousands of years without having like the correspondence necessary to run that business, bombarding, every person in that business constantly. You know what I'm saying? Like, they used to do stuff with letters. Imagine that. People on ponies riding across with a satchel full of letters. You know what I'm saying? So I think we get this illusion of urgency because stuff is just coming in. But I mean, a very small portion of things are true fires. There's a lot of, quote unquote, urgent things that like we spend our time on. I'm not saying like we don't have to respond to stuff, but a 2-minute response and a 5-minute response are essentially still fast responses. And I'm not saying everything needs to be 5-minute responses, of course, but the point is, the world we're living in now, we just haven't adjusted to it yet. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like you said, we're not robots, and it's not that critical most of the time. And like you said, now, I mean, people are more stressed out than ever before. Go figure, right? People are burnt out now more than ever, right? So these boundaries help. So if you want to hang out with me, if you want me to come in and hang out with your team, if you want to create more pauses and peace and outer performance, I lead workshops and I lead virtual series. I come in person, virtual. I also am very active on Instagram. I post daily mantras every day, so you can follow me there. I'd love to connect with you on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I post a lot there. I do all kinds of fun events. So I would love to stay in touch with you. We talked about, the micro pause, the minute pause, the mindful pause, why it's important. And, now just taking a pause for you to consider one inspired action that you feel called to take into your day and share with your colleagues. Maybe it's the butterfly hug. Maybe it's eating mindfully. Maybe it's, hey, I'm ready to try meditation again. Whatever it is for you, I'd love to hear. You can email me, Nadine@NadineCherry.com. I'd love to hear from you. Please reach out. But, I believe work is challenging, but stress can be optional, and really claiming the pause is the first stop to make with yourself. So I really am so grateful, Nick, for you having me. It was really great. I love the energy and the comments, and hope to connect with everybody soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nadine. This was really, really cool. Commit to doing one of these things just for a week and see if it does anything. That's not that big of a commitment. It's a 7-minute commitment. Okay, next week, proactive risk management, moving past anxiety to take action, so we can put more of this sort of mindfulness ethos and this mindfulness vibe in everything we do, and stop living in this cortisol pool. No one likes that. So love you all. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you on next Ethics First Day. See ya.